Welcome to the Inside Track on Real Estate with the Dekker Team. And I'm Ken Dekker.
And I'm Yetta Dekker.
Yeah, and we make up part of the Dekker Team. We usually say that, don't we?
Yes,
Yeah, that's
we
good.
do.
So today's our market update day.
Yes. And this one, I'm actually more excited about this market update than most of the others we've done.
Really?
Because the information is so current for November, up until November 30th.
Into November,
so
yeah.
that is incredible. Normally we can't get data that's that current because just how the months work. And here we are. So it's pretty amazing.
Yes, and what I've done is I've gone 12 months running.
Right.
So everything we're going to talk about today is kind of a 12-month history as opposed to just the month of November.
Right. And then in December, we'll probably do something similar. We'll see, or maybe we'll just move it into January. We'll see how we play with that. So we're going to look at a couple of specific areas, and we're going to do the general overview of Ottawa.
Yes.
So first, we're going to start with rentals.
Because
And
people always call me and they say, well, what about my area?
Exactly. And so we break it down a little bit, and we want to do the broad strokes. And if it's your area, you know I promise and offer this every single time, and that is we will do a sales in your area, which can come to you monthly and or more frequently or less frequently, depending on your request, that is very specific to your neighborhood and even your style of housing.
You do that for them?
I would.
That's awesome.
Well, actually, our team enters the data, but we promise to get it done, and then the promise keeper does it. And then we review to make sure that it's the information that you're looking for. So it's kind of a neat system, and it allows you to constantly and consistently be aware of what's happening in your specific area, even if you're not thinking of selling for 5 years. It doesn't really matter, or 10 years. Mm-hmm. It just gives you information's power. So
Right.
It gives you the knowledge of your specific neighborhood. So that is available to you. You do need to either call us or email us to ask for that. And so it's 860-4663, area code 613-613-860-4663. Or you can email info@Dekker Team, and we will get that handled for you.
We'd be delighted to help, wouldn't
We would love to, yeah. Because an informed seller is actually a seller that's really fun to work with as well, because you know the information. And then all we have to really do is help you interpret the data that's there. Mm-hmm. Sometimes there's a bit of, except you'll be able to see the photos, you'll see the true days on market, you'll see cumulative days on market, and lots of history on the property as well. So Kind of a neat opportunity. Mm-hmm. So meanwhile, we normally don't talk about rentals.
No, but I thought, let's talk about rentals.
Yeah, and the interesting thing with rentals is there is not one place where you can look for rentals or find rentals.
No, lots of places to look.
And a lot of them, there's not an organized system really around rentals. So the multiple listing service in Ottawa does allow us as realtors to post your rental properties on there. We tend to find that it is the mid to higher end rentals that are posted there.
That's correct.
Rather than the one room that's for rent at $500 a month. That kind of thing is not going to find on the MLS, and you probably won't even find the little in-law suite for $875 on the in-law suite. That kind of thing doesn't tend to show up. Tends to more be townhome, single-family, high-rise condos that are probably on average $1,300-1,400 or greater.
Yeah.
Up into the large $3,000 and $4,000 a month embassy-type rentals.
That's for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
And so this does not give you a complete picture of the rental market. It certainly gives you a complete picture as far as those landlords that have entrusted their rental property to a realtor to care for them. And it's kind of nice from a landlord perspective. You tend to get a little bit of a filter just because it has to be somebody that's connecting with a realtor. So it helps even find a better quality tenant often.
Yeah, and the realtor will do some extra steps, typically like do a full rental check, credit check for you, and ultimately the landlord has the final say whether they want to accept a tenant or not based on that information.
Right. So having said that, in all of the real estate board, the area that the Real Estate Board of Ottawa covers, there is currently 809 active rentals. Mm-hmm. Right, and the average cost for those rentals is $1,900 a month.
That's right.
Is that right?
Yep.
And how many were rented in all of 2014? Well, really, November
all of 14 so far, plus December
right.
of 2013.
Right.
Yeah, so 2,480 rentals, which means with the current inventory, now bear in mind that this time of year our inventory is a little lower than it would be during summer months and that sort of thing. So your months of inventory are slightly skewed, just a little bit, at 4 months of inventory, which is, I find, a little high for rental properties.
Correct, especially given the time of year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we're looking at 44 days on average on market is how long those rentals were that in fact got rented, right? And the average price of the ones that were rented in the last 12 months was $17.41.
That's correct.
Right.
That's right. So enough about rentals.
Well, it's if you're a landlord, then it's valuable information. And again, if you want this kind of information for your specific community, we can also set you up, rather than sales in your area, rentals in your area. Or even type of rentals if you want to look at the bigger picture across the city. It doesn't have to be as tightly defined geographically. So you just ask us and we'll get it for you.
Yeah. Now, condos was interesting. I did a little bit different today. I wanted to really look at what would the core of, because condominiums have been kind of taking a bit of a beating as far as the market goes in the past year. And so I wanted to really see where's that coming from. And so what I did was I divided, well, let's talk about the whole first. And then we'll divide it into pieces.
That's usually the better way to do it.
Okay.
So there's currently right now on the market 1,631 condos.
That's correct.
Condominium type property. And that's simply anything that has a true condominium fee associated with the property. So this does not include something that has a maintenance only.
That's correct.
Right? So just so that people know exactly
like
how we're dividing
private
it.
streets
Right.
are still considered freehold.
Yes, unless there's a condo fee associated with that property.
Yeah.
Right. And so a maintenance fee of $60, $70, $80 a month, generally those are not registered as true condominiums.
No, it's only the street.
That is registered accordingly. So this includes true condominiums, and it includes the high-rise as well as the townhomes, as well as any single family that are actually, and there's only a couple of streets in Ottawa that have single family that are true condominiums. Primarily it would be townhomes, semis, mostly townhomes or high-rises, or stacked.
Yeah.
Right, terrace homes.
Yeah. So, interesting enough, 2,596 houses or condos sold in the last 12 months.
Right.
Compared to 2,857 the previous 12 months. So that's down 9%.
In terms of sales.
Yeah, that's significant.
It is significant.
Almost 9%.
Right.
And so that reduction in price, in sales,
volume, yeah.
is turning out to a reduction in sale price.
Right.
Because also inventory is higher. So it's not just sales are lower, inventory is significantly higher. So now, to get an idea of what's going on, it's interesting though, at least there's 83 conditionally sold when I did this data today. And the average days on market was 74 days for those conditionally sold. So the most recent sold properties took 74 days on average to get an offer.
Right, and the ones that sold previously in the last 12 months took 83 days on average. Is that right?
No, I didn't actually pull that stat.
Okay, so we don't know the average for that.
No.
So we do know that there's 1,631 currently available, and we know that that equals 7.5 months worth of inventory.
Yes, and anything over 6 months is a buyer's market.
It is.
Now let's look as we divide it up, because that's when I started to see some interesting things.
Okay.
So we went to the inside the green belt. So obviously, you know, when you're driving and you're driving either east, west, or south, and there's no more houses and you see fields, that's the green belt. And so
the division, yeah.
Yeah. So we're looking inside the green belt. There's 1,031 active properties.
Right.
With an average list price of $355,000. Okay.
Yep.
Then there's 1,421 sold in the last 12 months. So even though inventory is a little lower this time of year, we have 8.7 months of inventory based on the sales for the last 12 months. That's a lot of inventory. Average days on market was 76 days. So
and the average sale price was just over $295,000.
That's correct.
Right. So the difference between, I mean, we're talking almost a $60,000 spread between the average of what's on the market and an average of what's actually sold.
Yeah, so once again, the more higher price homes are not selling as quickly as the lower price ones, and that's why you see the average sale price is lower than the average list price.
Right.
It doesn't mean, and I need to clarify this, it's $60,000 difference. It doesn't mean that the property that was listed for $355 sold for $295.
No.
Because it's about 97% is what they're averaging right now of the list price is what the seller is receiving. So really they're reducing about 3%. 3%
on average.
On average.
And some are still selling over asking and some are selling 10 or 15% below asking.
Yeah, you can't.
There's a real spread there.
But on average it's 3%. So if you were to do that calculation on 355, it means it would go down about, what is 3%? About $10,000, $11,000.
Right.
Off, okay?
Right. So this is just relative to what's on the market, relative to what's actually selling is where we're seeing those averages.
Mm-hmm. So now outside of the Greenbelt, so when I divide that all out, there's 453 active, so significantly less active.
Well, and that's because there is much less condominium outside the Greenbelt.
Yeah.
Because we do get, I mean, Orleans, Canada, Barrhaven, Stonebridge would fall in under outside the Greenbelt. Mm-hmm. However, once you start moving into the rural areas, such as Osgood and Greeley or Manotick or Constance Bay or Castleman or Bourget, whether Rockland, any of those areas, they're also outside the Greenbelt. They're included in this statistic.
But there's virtually no
virtually no condominiums there. Yeah. So as we get past the Greenbelt, we have a much lower volume of more space, but a whole lot less condominium type properties, right?
Now the other thing to bear in mind is that outside of the Greenbelt, it's more stacked townhouse style, garden home style. There's fewer apartment style condominiums.
Right. There is a few.
There's a few, but there's much fewer than the towers that you see all over downtown and that kind of thing.
And within the Greenbelt.
And within the
whether
Greenbelt.
It's off Richmond Road or whether,
Exactly. So it's a lot of it's got to do with a slightly different style of condominium. So interesting enough, 453 active, 1,045 sold. That's 5.2 months of inventory and 61 days on the market on average.
Right.
Compared to the 8.7. You see the difference? Inside the Greenbelt, 8.7 months. Outside the Greenbelt, 5.2 on average.
Right. So that would be more of a balanced market. So anything between 4 to 6 months is really balanced. It starts to shift at that right around that 6 into a buyer's market.
Yeah.
And so the average there is what's on the market is just around 249,000 and what's selling is just under 225,000, 223 something. So when we're looking at that, we're seeing still that difference between the average of what's on the market and the average of what's selling still exists, whether you're inside or outside the Greenbelt, although a little closer.
Yes, but there's almost inside there's almost $100,000 difference in the average list price compared to outside, and I think that's one of the things that's fueling the sales on the outside is the affordability of them.
Right.
Okay, so if you're just joining us on the Inside Track on real estate, you're listening to Ken and Yetta Dekker, and we're talking about the market and where the market's going and what the market's doing. And we're right on condominiums right now. And we're just going to break out Canada, Barrhaven, and Orleans. Kind of gives you the east, west, and south of the city outside of the Greenbelt.
We'll do that quickly just to give you a snapshot. Perfect.
So Canada, 89 active properties, 185 sold in the last 12 months. That's 5.7 months of inventory. And average price, $291.
On the market?
List, yep. And sold at $243.
Okay.
It's 60 days of inventory.
Perfect. And Barrhaven would be 58 active and approximately 60 It's 47 days, actually, right? We've got a little fewer days on market of those that have sold. There was 162 that sold this year, and we're looking at an average sale price of 221 with an average list price of about 240. And so that only equates to about 4.3 months worth of inventory.
Yeah, and again, a little lower price than the average condo in Canada.
Yeah.
More affordable, less inventory.
Right.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is.
Now let's jump out to Orleans.
Yeah.
124 active, 306 sold.
Right.
Gives us 4.9 months of inventory, 70 days on market on average, so 2.5 months. So people want to sell a condominium, know that it's going to be easily 2 to 3 month journey to get it sold, and then another 30 to 60 days to get it
or 90
closed. So you could be looking at 5-6 months process
on average.
On average of the ones that sold.
Right, and there's many that didn't sell.
Exactly.
Which is what we're seeing. And so the average asking price was just under $260,000 with the average buying price of just under $220,000 in Orleans area.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So let's get on to freeholds.
Okay, let's do that. Awesome. Now, before I go there, I just
Always
need to
just
say
a
this.
little bit of a caveat, huh, Ken?
When you look at outside, the condominium market's not doing horrible.
No,
it's a balanced market.
Yeah.
What's causing the glut of condominiums is all the building of towers downtown has caused too many new home sales, and most of the new home sales aren't shown on these stats. So there's still a huge inventory of new product, which is causing the older product to
the resale product.
The resale product.
Because it could be 1 year old, it could be brand new for that matter.
Yeah.
But we're looking at what's not
resale
on,
product.
Yeah, resale.
Is it's forcing it down because there's too much to choose from.
Right.
Inside the core.
Inside the core.
Outside the core, it's not all that bad. It's kind of the story of two cities, right? Inside city, outside city.
Tale of two cities.
Yes, that's what I meant.
That's how you usually say it.
Yes, okay. So, now let's go to freehold. 5,557 active properties. We sold 12,328 in the last
12 months.
12 months.
Yep.
That leaves us at a 5.4 month inventory right now. Again, now the inventory is usually a little lower, so it may be a little bit skewed.
It is a little skewed.
Okay.
Okay.
Not maybe, it is.
It is. There's no ands, ifs, or buts about it, or maybes.
And for the last several months, I've been saying that freehold is pretty close to a balanced market. And that's where it's showing up right now.
Right.
So average sale asking price was $435. Average sale, $370,000.
Right. And I just can't emphasize enough that when we're looking at these averages and what's selling and what isn't selling, price range, breaking it out into specific price ranges really shows a very different picture as well. So as much as we're saying on average 5.4 months worth of inventory, in certain price ranges throughout the city, there's 12 months or 16 months worth of inventory, 24 months, bigger than that.
Yep.
And in other areas, there's 2 or 3 months worth of inventory. Yes. So we're looking at averages rather than individual again. So call us for that stuff, and we would love to give it to you.
Okay. And so 65 days on market on average. So again, a couple months to market the properties that actually sell on average. Right. So some sell in the first week. That means a lot of them are selling in 3-4 months.
Exactly.
Okay.
And then a lot of them aren't selling at all.
Yes.
They're coming off the market and not being sold. And the nice thing with the stats that we're giving you now, it is based on cumulative days on market. We're not basing this on just the days on market on our current listing.
Right.
So that's helpful to know.
So interesting enough, in 2013, 12,361 compared to 12,328. I mean, almost identical. So we're down about 40 sales, 30 sales.
Right, which is negligible.
On 12,000 is 0%. Yeah. And average sale price, $365,831. So we're up just about $5,000
on the average that's sold.
On the average that's sold.
Which, again, does not mean that your home has actually gone up $5,000.
No.
It's
But this
just
is
the
a 12-month
average,
average over a 12-month average. So
Right.
you're starting to get some pretty broad stats which say, okay, the market's showing me that we've gone up $5,000. That's not a lot.
No, it's pretty much flat.
Yeah, you're pretty much equal. So let's see what the inside the greenbelt's doing compared to outside the greenbelt.
Yep, let's do it.
So inside greenbelt, active 1,055, and sold in the last 12 months 3,256. That's a decrease of 3% from last year.
Okay.
And prices were $477 on average inside the belt. And that's an increase of 1.8%. So
Okay.
inside, slight increase, 1.8. That's a healthy market for a market that's seeing some downward pressure based on amount of inventory.
Yeah,
That's very good.
it is. And in the sales price, the average has gone down 3% there. Is that what you're saying?
No, number of solds.
Okay,
So,
just number
so
of
our
solds.
number of solds are down 3%, but
Right.
pricing's up 1.8%.
Right.
So the best
good.
houses are selling, and they're getting a slight premium over last year. Not a lot.
No,
Very
pretty
little.
much flat, right?
Yeah, but interesting enough, 2.7 months of inventory inside the greenbelt
Right now.
right now.
And again, we have to just can't overemphasize that the stats are a little bit skewed because property starts to come off the market late November a fair bit. And that would be all the reasons to actually leave your home on the market, which I know we'll be recording a show that, or for you, that will talk about why the winter is a great time to sell. Right.
So, of the properties that are conditionally sold, so those are the ones that are the freshest with offers.
That we don't know the sale price yet.
That's right, 60 days on market
Okay.
was the average for those ones.
So that's good.
So now let's divvy it up a bit, chop
Yeah.
it up. Sous chef
Like
Ken.
we did.
Yeah.
Okay, like we did with condos. Let's
Exactly.
go, Ken. Let's start with Canada.
Okay, Canada, active 210, sold 1,008, and 5.8% increase in the number of solds compared to last year.
Wow. That's kind of a nice little story.
Yeah. Yeah, and what's also interesting is pricing is up slightly. Average sale price $368, and that's up 1.5%.
Okay, so about the same as our average overall. We said 1.8 there, and now we're saying 1.5 in Canada.
Right.
And
Now here's
so-
an interesting stat. Of the conditional sold in Canada, 26 days.
Wow.
Days on market.
Wow.
Yeah. So
So
if you're in
that-
Canada, give us a call. We'd love to sell your house.
Because it should happen quite quickly. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah.
And now Barrhaven, we have 295 on the market with 1,045 having sold this year,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
At an average of about 366, 545, which is up basically zero over last year
Yeah.
because it was 367, 787.
Yeah. So pretty much flat.
Yep.
But what's interesting is the sales are up 5%. So Barrhaven sales are up 5% over last year, and there's 3.4 months of inventory right now.
Which is perfect.
Yeah.
And so, because that's really very much a balanced market. So in 2013, 993 sold, and this year, 1,045 sold.
Yeah. Up 5%.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah. So good on you if you're living in Barrhaven or Canada right now.
Yeah. Now, Orleans.
Yep. Active 291. Sold was 1,247. That's a decrease of 4.4% from last year, which is interesting. But price is stable. Price is pretty much flat. Went down about $1,000 on average compared to 2013. Right. So really, that's nothing.
Yeah, that's pretty
nothing.
negligible.
$1,000 on a $365,000 house is virtually nothing.
Right. So now, we just
2.8
want to make
months
sure we
inventory,
talk
by the way.
about some great properties, don't we?
We do, but I'm going to throw in Riverside South real quick.
Well, why would you do that in freehold if you didn't do it in condos?
Because there aren't that many condos in Riverside South.
Oh,
And I wanted to
there's
see
lots of terrace homes.
and you want to know why I did it?
No, yes.
Because
I
the
don't
bridge
understand
opened
you.
a couple months ago, and I wanted to see
Okay.
what effect it might have had.
Okay.
So there's 40 active homes for sale in Riverside South. That's not very much inventory compared to the other areas, but it is a smaller area.
Yeah, it is.
185 sold. That's down 7% from last year.
Okay.
And
because 199 sold the year before.
Yeah, and prices are down. Average sale price $392. It's down 2.6% over the year. So down just a little bit. So it's not trending the same way the other areas are so far, but it'll be interesting to see what 2015 does when the full impact of the new bridge falls into place. It'll be interesting to watch Riverside South.
Huh, that will be kind of interesting. Okay, I'm glad I let you do that.
Good.
Anyway, thanks for joining us, and we want to make sure that we talk about a great property that's for sale right now. It is a single-family home, 4 bedrooms upstairs, a true 4-bedroom, not one of the 3+1s. Double-car garage, built in only 2003, so really quite a new home on a half-acre, nicely situated in Shadow Ridge in Greeley, and it is only $435,000. Which
10-year-old house.
Yeah, 11 years.
11 years?
2003 to 2014 would be 11 in my mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Pretty soon.
12.
12 years.
There you go. So really nice family home, 2-story.
Great neighborhood. We lived there for 12 years.
And we loved it.
Yes.
And our daughter lives there now. So lots of Dekker cars running through those streets.
Yes.
Anyway, super opportunity. So if you're interested in that or any property for that matter, or selling any property, doesn't really matter, give us a call at the Dekker Team, 613-860-4663. And what exciting things might we have coming up? Oh, I know what I have to remind you about. We have our draw coming up on Family Day for a trip to Cancun. For those that have introduced us to people that we have worked with. So if you want to get in on that, there is still time.
Yep, you can send us a referral.
A great introduction, and we'll help them, and then you will be entered into a draw, as will they.
Do we get to go with them?
No.
No?
No.
But it's getting cold.
It is getting cold. Anyway, the draw will be on Family Day, so if you're interested in potentially winning a free trip to Cancun,
refer your friends and family. Introduce us to the Dekker Team.
Yeah.
Yep. We'd love to help.
We would. So thanks for joining us. We really do enjoy this time with you. And for your personalized market update, how will they do it, Ken? I'm usually the one that gets to talk all about that.
You can email us at info@dekkerteam.com or give us a shout, 613-860-4663. That spells home, by the way. 860-HOME, H-O-M-E, and we'd be delighted to help you. Give us a call at that number again, 613-860-4663.
And what will they get?
A beautiful person answering the phone.
And then after that?
All the information they're looking for.
And it'll come to them automatically in their inbox on a monthly or more frequently or less frequently, depending on what they request, basis, and it will be as personalized as they would like it to be.
Yeah. So thanks for joining us on the Inside Track on Real Estate. Bye for now.
Thanks for joining.